This morning, I want to talk about the new Ruto I saw yesterday at the funeral of Governor Joyce Laboso. First, my condolences to Edwin and the entire family and the people of Bomet and the Kalenjin nation for losing such an illustrious lady, a very promising lady, to cancer that is now destroying almost the entire mankind. The new Ruto I saw yesterday would appear to me to be like Paul changed from Saul. What was the Damascus moment for Ruto? For the first time, I keenly observed Ruto relating towards Raila in a manner he has never done before. One would argue this is because of the occasion. But even when we had a national prayer meeting, breakfast meeting, at the Safari Park, sometimes 2 or 3 months ago in this year, he was sarcastic. So that kind of have been the occasion. There must be a reason, therefore, that made William Samoei Ruto refer noticeably to Raila as Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. He even referred to him as my brother. And he said nice things about the handshake. For the first time, categorically so, William Samoei Ruto said he was supporting the handshake. He was supporting the president. And by extension, and by expression, that he was also supporting Raila Amolo Odinga. Looking at him and looking at the demeanor and the language, I am convinced there's some change. What could have changed? Would it have been the moment? Would it have been because of death? This August that has always been jinxed for us in this country? Death has a way of reminding human beings that we are not what we think we are. Death and extreme suffering like sickness perhaps was put there by God to remind arrogant man that you are not what you think you are. So maybe the occasion could have had an impact on him. But I think there are political reasons. I think Ruto has finally come to see that power is not something you play with, that you cannot go against power very easily. He has seen that those in power can harass your friends. There has been a bit of that. Those in power can make your life difficult. Those in power can make you a pariah. Those in power can break your friends. Those in power can jail your friends, can undertake measures that can destroy them economically. Those in power can even jail you. Those in power can jettison you from the party and from even the deputy president's position if they wish. He knows, I think by now, that those in power can even steal votes. So maybe this realization comes from this knowledge that it's not easy for anybody to fight power. Let's look at what he has done from the time of the handshake. In his attempt to resist the handshake, William Samoei Ruto always had 3 options. Option number 1, leave government and fight from outside. He has not done it because he reckons he's part of those who formed this government, which is true. But he also knows power is sweet. There's some warmth that power brings, which if you move out, it is easy for you kudenguliwa, like I've said before. So he has not taken that option, and is unlikely to take it perhaps. The other option has been to fight directly. It's been difficult to do that because that experiment in Malawi didn't work, where a vice president is openly against the government and against the president and declares to run against the president. Of course, he lost recently. That is a very ugly option, where you are the deputy president of a country, but you are fighting the president and you are saying you are going to run in the next election. The other option was fight through proxy, which he has done, fight through Sudi, through Kipchumba Murkomen, fight through Ishungwa, fight through other small fellows. But I think Ruto has come to discover these Sudi and Kipchumba Murkomen and the rest of these fellows are no match to power. And I think this realization that you cannot fight power through such a small fellows could have informed the new look Ruto. And I'm convinced, I could be wrong, but I'm convinced that there is a new Ruto who is going to join the handshake team. Now, the conversation we must therefore be having as a country today is, what kind of 2022 are we looking at? Will Ruto be given the ultimate prize in 2022 by the handshake team? It's most unlikely. Because much as the handshake team could also have been happy to bring him on board, because it's not easy having Ruto outside fighting you, because he is a tough man. Much as they would have been happy to bring him on board, it must have been most likely on their terms. And because it is on their terms, there is no way he can come in and get the top prize. And this leads us to the referendum. Not the Punguza Punda, as Raila calls it, or Punguza Mzigo referendum, but the handshake BBI referendum. I think if Ruto has actually come on board, then there will be a non-contested referendum. So the question we are now left with is, what structure of government are they going to put in place so that now you'll have to handle Ruto? Because he will not be given the ultimate prize, because there are two other serious fellows to consider. There is Raila Odinga, and increasingly, there is Fred Matiang'i. So when you have Raila Odinga, Fred Matiang'i, and William Ruto, I am not seeing Ruto being given the top prize. But the structure of government is going to be likely to accommodate these fellows, plus Salim Davadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, Joho, and the rest of these people who have been mentioned by Atwoli. Asema katika serikali, anasema Atwoli. Hiyo serikali ya Joho atakuwa ndani. So it is true, people like Joho will be in. And therefore, I look at a structure of government that has a president, a vice president, not a deputy president. It's going to be a first vice president and second vice president, along the lines of what happens in Tanzania, where you have two vice presidents. And then there's going to be a prime minister and 2 or 3 deputies. Put in this manner, we are therefore likely going to see these Kenyans fitting in. The challenge, however, is going to be, what kind of position would Ruto be given in this new arrangement if, as indeed we agree, is unlikely to be the top prize? If the presidency is going to be the most powerful position, he's unlikely to be given. If the prime minister is going to be executive and more powerful, again, maybe he's not likely to be given. That leaves the question, what will Ruto accept as the reducible minimum? But I think it must by now be a foregone conclusion that the handshake team has now brought Ruto on board, most likely, and the question is, what would be that position in 2022 below which Ruto cannot go?